Fate doesn't negotiate, it strikes. In Chapter 24, Kawaki doesn't plead with destiny, he pierces it. He isn't just facing monsters, he's rewriting the outcome etched into the singularity of fate. It begins where we left off, a chakra rod through Jura's skull. Not an end, but a declaration. Power alone means nothing here. It's precision that disrupts, exposes, and disarms. Kawaki doesn't fight for triumph. He fights to interrupt the inevitable. Each move is measured, each blow a distraction. This isn't a battle for glory. It's a race to delay, mislead, and escape. When Jura regenerates, he ponders what love really means. At that moment, even monsters seem burdened by philosophy. This chapter reveals what true shinobi instincts look like: cold, calculated, merciless when needed. Kawaki may not believe in fate, but at this moment, he carves his defiance with ruthless intent. So grab your kunai. This isn't just another battle. This is cinema between a vessel and a divine tree. In a flashback, reaching back to Chapter 15, we witness an extensively urgent exchange between Boruto and Kawaki, one that now redefines everything we knew previously. Boruto lays out the plan with surgical clarity. Head there as soon as Amato's removed your limiters, and help Sarda and the others. Once you've arrived, I'll go too. That will likely cause Jura to join in, but your presence will give us a chance. The tone isn't hopeful, it's strategic. This was always meant to be Kawaki's entrance first. His delay isn't just noticed, it's acknowledged at the end of Chapter 23, when Boruto calls him out for being late. Now, what hits hardest is Kawaki's admission that carries bitter realism, that even together, they still might not be enough. Their mission was never about victory. It was to delay, distract, and disrupt. Boruto breaks down the logistics behind his Flying Thunder God technique. Unlike the original, his version requires a physical pin or uniquely shaped object to act as a marker. In a close-up panel, Kawaki looks at the item, a metallic pin shaped like the Hidden Leaf insignia. This moment clarifies a major truth. Boruto's long-distance space-time ninjutsu isn't some effortless escape tool. It demands precision, focus, and preparation. More importantly, it reframes the entire operation. They're not here to beat Jura. They're here to survive him and vanish with everyone intact. Kawaki narrows his eyes and mutters, "So you want me to buy you time, huh?" With that understanding, he knows that this isn't about glory, it's about distraction. Kawaki is the decoy. His role is to endure, mislead, and delay. In that single line, he accepts the weight of it. The battlefield has never been fair, but it's in moments like this where survival hinges on seconds that true intent takes shape. Kawaki isn't here to defeat Jura. He's here to hold him back long enough for the real move to be made. As Sun Tzu famously said, all warfare is based on deception. A gurgle hum fills the air. A tail beast bomb that has dense raw chakra would erupt from Jura's optic line of sight like a black sun. No words are needed, but just certain devastation. Kawaki doesn't flinch. He raises his karma-etched arm, and eyes steeled with brutal clarity. In an instant, the Biju bomb collapses into his palm, and becomes consumed in a swirl of energy. Karma devours the chakra devastation. Across the battlefield, Boruto's breath catches a trail of anxiety. One hand grips his arm from the strain of the karma resonance that still links him to Kawaki. This phantom feedback pulses through his nerves like electricity through a narrow pipeline. Meanwhile, Jura is already in motion. The monster needs no words, but deadly action. He flanks Kawaki with precision and speed. This isn't brute force, but a predator who adjusts his angles that are straight out of Jeet Kune Do's single direct attack. Jura's claw-like appendage of his grotesque middle finger weapon belt mark would slash like a sickle, but Kawaki would be gone. A flicker, a blur. Sukuna Kona triggers in a perfect rhythm that renders Kawaki momentarily microscopic. He shrunk down mid-swing. The deadly strike would only cut empty space in the air, a subtle statement of evasion. With unwavering intent, Kawaki activates Daiyokuten, his personal pocket dimension forged through Ishiki's legacy. In an instant, 4 colossal cubes burst forth from the void above, as if they were weapons of divine punishment. They crash down as if to erase Jura from existence. That very air has its quake, and the tremors ripple outward. Boruto reacts in a flash as he launches himself out of the drop zone. His cloak trails through the rising dust storm. Jura shows an eerie serene amidst the monumental chaos, and his line of sight calmly shifts skyward. With surgical precision, he unleashes a counterstrike with a tail beast scattershot. With rapid-fire devastation, a single cube explodes mid-air in a burst of chakra and stone. Its fragments spin outward like shattered meteorites. Jura's auras composed and shaken. However, even gods can be blindsided. From the smoke of the assault, Kawaki reappears, not as a soldier, but as a specter, a ghost honed in silence, trained in the unseen rhythm of the shinobi way. No battle cry, and no warning, just economy of motion. He closes the distance like a shadow drawn by bloodlust. In a split-second flash, his biomechanical claw arcs forward with brutal elegance, a strike forged from resolve and resentment. This blow connects. Jura's towering form stumbles back with a rare flicker of disbelief, disrupting that aura of serenity. Here comes the boom. Jura lands hard between the falling cubes that are almost aligned like a coliseum around him. Dust coils into the air as if it were incense at a divine temple. The impact echoes through the ravine-like alley that was dropped with Kawaki's deadly intent from the Daiyokuten. Above it all, Boruto hovers silently. His cloak flaps into the wind. His gaze sharpens like a specter. This has become an arena between titans of power. Suddenly, Kawaki counterattacks, up close and personal upon Jura. The chakra rod in his hand extends into a full-length staff. Its black alloy hums with refined chakra. Kawaki strikes with no wasted motion, a pure economy of motion straight out of Bruce Lee's Jeet Kune Do. Each swing is merciless. The staff clangs against Jura's outstretched claw with supersonic violence. Jura counters with piercing jabs, while also using bob-and-weave evasion of a boxer. Kawaki pivots smoothly, redirecting with perfect economy. He blocks a vertical stab, then twirls with a progressive attack turned into a direct hit. Kawaki presses forward with a refined aggression, matches the rhythm and ruthlessness of Jigen. The ghost of his former master lives in his footwork, in the angles that have seamless blend of offense and control. Flick strikes, body fence, delayed retraction followed by snapping counters. He's not just swinging, he's manipulating the battlefield like a grandmaster. Even Jura senses it, and therefore his reaction narrows under pressure. For the first time, he's forced into reactive defense. Suddenly, Kawaki fends a rising swing, then collapses the staff into a tighter form like a spear, infused by the residual chakra of karma. The chakra rod impales clean through Jura's abdomen towards the rib. The panel shows a grotesque section of Jura's right side ribcage missing. Torn off by the force of Kawaki's strike, it leaves a blackened crater of warped flesh. Kawaki keeps going, a rapid sequence of jab, staff movements so fast they blur between panels. Each strike lands with a vicious, smoke-trailing impact, almost as if the blows burn chakra straight through Jura's skin. Crack, smash, thrust. All rapid-fire jabs. Every strike drawn with trailing smoke plumbs an image of pure destruction rendered in motion. Even the panels seem to stagger visually, overwhelmed by ferocity of Kawaki's assault. The battlefield settles into a moment of strained stillness. Kawaki winds up his monstrous claw arm and slaps Jura against a rock formation. Each step echoes across the canyon of cubes. There is no hesitation, no mercy, only a predator closing in on prey. Suddenly, Kawaki vanishes in a blur of speed, and so does Jura into a newly formed battlefield valley. A whip-crack sound can be seen before it's thunderously heard. The next panel cuts hard to the skies as Boruto floats above, holding his arm tightly as it throbs with glowing karma resonance. His palm pulses in sync with Kawaki's movements down below, as if their chakras are singing the same violent song. Boruto winces slightly. It's all right. There's no problem. Calm yourself. Kawaki walks with his own final boss aura and his staff at temporary ease. Inside a dim control room, Sumeri and Amato watch the real-time battle stream through Kawaki's point of view. The camera trembles with every clash. Jura's injuries are clear now, with his side is scorched and shredded. Sumeri leans forward. Whoa, I can't believe he's able to push Jura this much. Maybe he can actually... Amato interjects with, no. Suddenly, Jura moves. From beneath his belt-wrapped cloak, the Shinju reaches calmly into a hidden pocket and retrieves a book. The simplicity of the act feels surreal against the chaos. However, Jura's hand doesn't shake. He opens the pages deliberately. Jura's eyes scan the pages of a small tome and acknowledges Uzumaki Kawaki. His expression shifts into curiosity and states, as I thought, you're displaying incomparably greater combat ability than before. However did you manage to acquire such power in such a short time? Jura recalls it clearly. Uzumaki Humawari, the girl with innocent eyes whose power detonated in a single moment of grief, like a dormant flame suddenly set ablaze. Jura speaks more freely now, almost reminiscing aloud in this intermission of battle. He recalls Inoji's sacrifice, that it was the ignition point for her transformation. He continues, not to intimidate, but to understand. This dangerous monster is a curious monster. Jura casts a glance at Kawaki. Sarda becomes another example of this revelation. Sumeri listens carefully through the lens of Kawaki's POV, and her heart skips at the mention of Sarda. She too unexpectedly awakened to power and took my brethren down extremely easy, Jura muses. This is when correlation of grief, sacrifice, and love comes full circle within Jura's curious discovery. Sumeri leans back with reaction. Sarda did? A close-up panel captures Jura's face, one eye gouged. Despite the pain, he doesn't look broken. If anything, he looks thoughtful, curious, and determined for more knowledge. His words are not laced with superiority, but inquiry. Jura mentions his passionate research on the subject of love. He feels that it's a fatal weakness that humans hold on to, but on the other hand, it could be a cofactor that enables extraordinary evolution. Jura's single eye intact locks on Kawaki and asks, "What do you think, Kawaki? I'd love to hear your honest opinion." This is not a mockery nor manipulation. It's a genuine understanding from a curious monster gaining critical literacy. Jura, the god tree made flesh, is asking a question only a human can answer. Kawaki doesn't blink. He doesn't philosophize. He doesn't negotiate. He responds with devastating force. "You talk a lot for a pest," Kawaki finalizes. In one seamless motion, his karma-edged hand thrusts forward, glowing with molten chakra, a blast of raw hatred and rejection unleashed like a literal cannon. Boom! A colossal explosion. The very air distorts from flung-up dust that devours the screen. Even time seems to hold its breath from impact. There is no nuance in Kawaki's answer, only absolute rejection. Dust chokes the valley. The blast zone simmers. Within the smoke comes a mysterious growth. A mass of thick vines burst upward like claws from the earth, twisting and spiraling into a throne, a natural monument shaped from the Shinju's regenerative rootwork. Sitting upon it is relaxed and undeterred would be Jura. His wounds still mark his body, but they're being treated before their very eyes. The vines thread through his skin, stitching flesh, mending ribs, and sealing muscle. He leans back on the living throne as if in meditation. "Ah, don't blow your fuse so quickly, Kawaki," Jura offers. "I just want to chat with you." The offer is sincere, or as close to sincere as something like him can be. It's a rare moment of de-escalation. Jura gazes towards Kawaki with measured fascination. "I mean, I never expected you to come to Boruto's rescue." Jura continues with, "For as far as I know, there is only one thing in this world that you want to protect, and that is supposed to be Uzumaki Naruto." There's no venom in Jura's voice. He only questions what he finds deeply puzzling and quietly troubling. Jura's expression darkens. His voice now carries a weight of memory. He mentions his attempt to search for Naruto, who once shared a connection to the tailed beasts of an old era. Jura concludes that he was gone. He gazes carefully at Kawaki. His eyes read every twitch and every refusal to flinch. That silence between them, Kawaki doesn't confirm it instantly because his body language betrays him. Jura sees it, a soft narrowing of the eyes, and that's all the Shinju needs. Jura now has absolute clarity. Then Jura's tone darkens into something primal and unsettling. He leans forward on his living throne, eyes now sharpened with a grotesque intrigue. "I'm hoping that I might learn more about love if I devour him. And that line alone snaps a reaction from Kawaki, where his hand tightens and winds up a lunge. Suddenly Boruto appears in an instant, standing shoulder to shoulder. Boruto confirms he has a lock on the symbol. The Flying Thunder God is good to go. There's no panic in his voice, only acknowledgement, like a scientist logging a data point. Kawaki has a final statement before departure. I don't give a damn about love. His voice is hard, final, scorched by disdain. There's a flicker of contradiction that would linger. The dust hasn't even settled, but Kawaki's voice cuts deep. He gives credit to Jura's instincts and the intuition in setting sight on Lord Seventh. Jura, still rooted to his throne of vines, and tilts his head, slightly listening. Kawaki ends with, Don't misunderstand, though. You will die by my hand, I swear on it. Jura listens in full. No smugness, no posturing. Jura appreciates Kawaki's honesty. End of conversation between the vessel and the divine tree. Without a single word more, Kawaki lifts his arm-shoulder height with a middle finger up. A whole panel dedicated to this gesture. Crude, unapologetic, perfectly Kawaki. It says everything left unsaid. Jura doesn't react, but the gesture is immortalized in that moment, a punctuation mark on the chapter's most volatile exchange. Cut away to another part of the battlefield where Delta, Kamaharu, and others remain on standby. They glance down at the rocky terrain. A small, metallic glint catches their attention. It's the hidden leaf insignia, pinned resting delicately on the ground, isolated from the chaos around it. Kamaharu moves toward it. Delta warns to clear away or he may get stepped on. Squelch! Too late. Stomp! A foot comes crashing down on Kamaharu's face, unintentionally and with perfect comedic timing. Kawaki lands right on him. Boruto materializes beside them a heartbeat later, sweat dropping with mild embarrassment. In the background, Kamaharu is sprawled across the ground, face buried into the earth, groaning. Kawaki blinks down, half confused and half annoyed. What the hell are you doing? The question is its own punchline. Boruto winces. Even amidst life-threatening battles and ideological confrontations, the shinobi world has room for slapstick. Kamaharu confirms possession of the Thorn Soul bulb. It's time to return to the hidden leaf. We've shifted scenes again. Kajin, Koji, and Ida speak on what has happened. Ida was relieved, but Koji was skeptical of any praise. He feels that it was a dangerous gamble that could destroy good futures. He knows that Boruto's survival was a good thing. However, these changes of events have shifted a different future. Koji closes with a final warning to Ida. But Mushi's going on the move, and his target is you. Ida acknowledged how grotesque this will turn to be. Cut to Jura at the Shinju headquarters. He has a blush that catches Hidari's attention. Jura clarifies his reaction stems from Kawaki's compliment. Hidari has a book in hand and mentions the perfect phrase that would sum up his expression. Totally ick. Jura glares, and that closes chapter 24. To be continued. Now, one of the most mysterious moments in Boruto Tupelo Vortex, chapter 24, is Jura's sudden self-healing, aided by the emergence of tree-like vines. Was this a jitsu, divine tree biology? Maybe something more primal. Some fans speculate the belt mark triggered the vines, while others believe they're remnants of the original divine tree. Let's decode the truth through real-world science. In this special segment I call ANBU Tactical Science Memo. And so there's something called botanical regeneration and meristem cells. In nature, plants regenerate damage using meristematic cells, undifferentiated stem cells that activate when tissue is injured. Trees like willows or banyan can regrow entire limbs, sealing wounds from hormonal signals. Hypothesis: if Jura is a bioorganic fusion born from divine tree, his body might contain this kind of regenerative tissue. The vines we see could be external grafts or latent growths, triggered to activate the repair his injuries, like nature rebooting itself. And then there's a mycorrhizal network, nature's hidden internet. Forests have a secret, an underground fungal network called mycorrhizal web, which allows trees to send nutrients, distress signals, and healing responses between one another. It's like a wood wide web. Hypothesis: if traces of the original divine tree's root system still exist beneath the surface, Jura, as its biological successor, could be connected to that network. The vines may not be summoned like chakra-based jitsu, but rather responding to his presence the way forest roots aid a damaged tree. Then finally, synthetic biology and genetic design. Jura's existence hints at artificial creation, a hybrid of humanoid and divine flora. His belt mark might function like a biological interface that activates dormant environmental systems, or a sort of calling on ancient tissue to rebuild them. Jura doesn't control nature, he's coded into it. The vines could be biological extensions, not tools. They respond to injury like your immune system would, only in this case, it's botanical and centuries old. Final analysis: what we witness may not be chakra alone, but a fusion of synthetic biology, plant intelligence, and ancestral memory. Jura doesn't use nature, he is nature, a living force that heals as instinctively as it strikes. Jura tanked chakra rods to the head and body. He healed while seated comfortably. He questioned love like a philosopher standing in a battlefield. After all of that, we still know nothing about Jura. Truly is beyond his divine tree functionality. Chapter 24 gave us motion, strategy, even a glimpse of hope. But it ends with the same uneasy truth. Jura didn't fall. He observed. He adapted. He continues to watch. Kawaki may have bought time. Boruto may have rejoined the field for the Great Escape. The real war hasn't begun, not while the final boss aura remains unreadable. In the aftermath of this Great Escape, the question lingers: how do you stop a monster you still don't understand? So remember this chapter not as a victory, but as a prelude to whatever Jura becomes next. The path ahead is undetermined. Can the recovered Thorn Soul Wolves revive dormant allies without any further delays? What other countermeasures are being planned by Koji now that his prescience has updated? What's the fate of Ida now that Shinju Mamushi has started moving? Stay sharp and be ready for what comes next.